I am, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm a little bit depressed.
Oh, it's worse.
And it's not just the weather and the lack of sun. It's the people. It's the goddamn people.
You got to get out, man. You got to. I know. Getting out exposes you to the people, but at the same time, you need to come to like Pho Keen Gray, which is the Pho Noodle restaurant in downtown Keene. For our listeners that don't know, where we have meetups twice a week now because the lady that owns the place, her attitude is basically, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want. Freedom means something to her. Mm-hmm. She actually, in my opinion, she's the best activist we've got right now. Because she's got something on the line. She's got her entire business on the line. She's actually out of business at 2 of her restaurants. They've been closed since early, 2020.
But fucking great is doing just fine.
Fucking great. I don't know how well they're doing, but they're still open. So that's a good sign.
Good news. Good sign.
It doesn't hurt that we brought, I think, 28 people there on last Sunday. You weren't there for it, but we literally... There were 3 other people in the place who weren't with our group, and everybody else, the whole place was full of people. So there are some bright spots out there, and I know you don't like to get out, but it might be worth it.
I work Sundays too.
I know. We're doing some on Fridays.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we got what we call fucking Friday, and so 5 o'clock, come on out. We've had people come up from like Connecticut and elsewhere just to come up and visit New Hampshire. And it's a perfect place to go because you walk in and it's like walking into 2019. There's no signs on the door or anything like that. Now, every now and then a masked person will come into the store.
And then immediately see that it's 2019 and be like, oh, thank God.
Some of them act that way. So you can talk to the staff and they'll tell you stories about their interactions with people. Some people will come in and they'll somehow get the communication that it's okay to not wear the mask, and they'll have that reaction that you're talking about, because there are what percentage of people that are wearing masks. We still don't know what percentage of them are doing it just because they believe they have to, not because they want to, but because they believe that all these stores have these policies, because there's signage up almost everywhere at every corporate place.
It's got to be a significant portion.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious if any of you are on the social medias, if they've changed their avatar to them wearing a mask,
that's one of the bad ones. They're one of the bad ones. Right?
But had they changed their avatars to wearing 2 masks? Because wearing one is no longer enough to virtue signal that you're a member of the Church of Woke.
Oh, speaking of that, Vincent, former co-host here on Free Talk Live, current host of Questioning Authority on Saturday nights, he sent me something today saying Keene State College students now have to wear a mask in their dorm room and 2 masks on campus outside of their dorm.
Stop wasting your time, kids. Just drop out. I mean, it's Keg State College in the first place.
Keg Stand College.
Okay.
Keg Stand.
Well, it's not worth it.
Good news, and I don't know if these are stories that we'll get to. It looks like Texas, at least, is getting ready to rescind
Texas and Mississippi
their mask mandate orders. And of course, that's Texas, and they're light years ahead of some of here in New England.
They ought to rescind their statehood next and get out of the United States.
And that they're also talking about that, which is very interesting. And like I've always said, I want Texas to do it first, because that's a lot more real estate that the federal government has to worry about.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, we just slip off right into the sunset while the federal government is wasting all their missiles and bombs and drones on some good old boys down in the South.
We got to get more people here, though, Conan. I mean, I think we've got... 2020 was the best year yet for the Free State Project as far as migration is concerned. They had tremendous increase in interest in the project as well. Lots of new signups, lots of new people joining their newsletter and following them on social medias and things like this. I went to their Porcupine Day, which was the sort of the celebration of the end of the 5-year moving window for the Free State Project. So now it's finally the early moving window thing is now done. And now just come on in.
All I got to say is if you want to move to New Hampshire, you got to do it before all the Californiites and all the mass holes, because they are coming in droves. Yeah. I mean, I have at least a dozen new addresses on my route, just one route. And Walpole is only a population of like 3,000. I mean, the houses are going up left and right, brand spanking new houses, and all New Jersey plates, Massachusetts plates, California plates. They're they're escaping.
Yeah, it's not surprising, especially now that they can work from home or whatever, so they don't actually have to be in New Jersey or Massachusetts. Like, well, I can just move to New Hampshire and then not have to pay any income taxes anymore.
Yep, and then what do you mean you don't have mass transit? What do you mean you don't? Your library's too small. We need to fix that. And then, before you know it, they're at the city hall, the city council meetings, and they're bringing all their bad ways with them. And this is how parasites work, and hopefully we get the not so bad parasites. Hopefully we get the mediocre ones, because it's sad. I don't want them coming. I want the good ones to move in.
Yeah.
Well, New Hampshire appears to be lagging behind Texas and Mississippi. Governor Sununu just extended.
But that's just in COVID-related stuff.
Sure.
I mean, New Hampshire is still at least as of the last calculation, and maybe it'll change drastically, in the next time they look at the numbers, because the 2020 freedom rankings that have come out from like the Fraser Institute, which does economic freedom of all North America, looks at every state, every province in Canada, every Mexican state, and it ranks them. New Hampshire's number 1 there. Florida is tied with number 2 with Idaho. So, but it's close. It's darn close. And Texas, I don't know where they are on the list, but generally Texas isn't as good as the people from Texas think that it is.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, we'll see how it pans out, because the 2020 numbers are actually coming from 2018. So, because it takes them, a couple of years to gather all the statistics and put it all together.
So we won't really know how unfree we became in 2020
until
2022. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll find out sooner rather than later. But it's good to see that this is coming to an end in some states.
Yeah, and we do know that there are more people, I think, interested in moving here than I can recall in years. I would say we've had more visitors here to New Hampshire, specifically just to Keene. I know they're getting them elsewhere, but all I can see is what comes here. And I would say we've had more visitors in the last 8 months here than we've had in the last probably 6 to 8 years.
The Free State Project page on Facebook is filled with people talking about moving to New Hampshire. Who knows how many of them will actually do it?
Talk is cheap, but it's the first step. I mean, you still have to talk before you get to secession too. Like, we have to talk about secession. People have to talk about secession if they believe in it, because if enough people believe in a thing, it can become real. It can manifest.
Yeah, it only takes 5%, and then once you get that, activist types, people who are actually, walking the walk.
Right.
To get everyone else, all the people, the conformers, the maskies out there, to say, oh, wait, hold on now. There's actually a restaurant in Keene that you don't have to wear a mask?
There's more than one.
I love the sign of that.
Yeah.
Well, secession would be ideal. Then we don't have to worry about what the federal government is doing. We don't have to worry about California telling New Hampshire what to do. What do you think?
Exactly.
603-283-6160.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio you control. You can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line. With you tonight, it's Aria, Conan, and Ian. And Bitcoin is on sale. I don't know if you saw that, but you can find out more about it at bitcoin.com. If you don't happen to know anything about it, they have everything you need to know. A cornucopia of information neatly organized by your needs, so there's really no longer an excuse to ignore this important world-changing information. But if you already know about crypto, check out news.bitcoin.com. Because there you can get the latest headlines of all the news relevant to you, because Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a sleek and easy-to-use website, Bitcoin.com, to find out more about it. It's not a bad time to, because it is down about $10,000 per coin versus its peak.
It's at 48 right now. That's not on sale. It was on sale yesterday when it was 43.
Oh, it's still on sale.
Its peak was 58.
All right. Well, yeah, it's... And, of course, considering that it's probably going to be 100,000 in a couple of months.
It could be.
I, believe it or not, in my hibernation, I started mining.
What are you mining?
I had a machine just sitting there. I'm like, well, it's not doing me any good. It's my my living room TV watching machine. And I've just started playing around. I didn't realize how easy it was.
It's super easy these days.
I'm mining Ethereum and Monero.
Nice.
Really?
I've only been mining for 3.5 weeks.
This with a graphics card?
I'm using a graphics card in the living room, and I use my CPUs. All of my computers are mining Monero using my CPUs.
Wow.
So I actually got on board, doing some research, figuring out what I need to be mining to, transferring into Bitcoin and whatnot. And I'm like, I'm going to put a damn machine together, like a real, honest to God rig.
Okay.
And so I got everything except the GPUs. Why? Because go on Newegg right now, go on anywhere and look up the GPUs. They are through the roof.
Really?
The same card that I bought in early January is for $300. You can't get. First of all, it's not in stock.
Yeah, they're almost impossible to find right now.
But the list price, $900.
Why? Why all of a sudden?
And it's a simple, because everyone's mining.
Because of the price?
No, everyone's mining.
Yeah, but why now? Is it because the price has been going up? That's why everybody's jumping in?
I think a lot of people are at home. They're not working. They're doing all their work from home. So but that's one of the theories.
I don't think you're correct. I think it's a matter of supply and demand. Chris Wade was talking about having issues acquiring hardware going back 7, 8, 9 months because of the pandemic and COVID-19, because so much of these chips are being produced in China.
Yeah, due to COVID, there's been huge delays as far as Chinese shipments.
Plus, everyone's working at home, so they no more company computer. They're building their own or buying their pre-built.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So that's one of the reasons.
Okay.
Other reasons, everyone's mining. Well, so I'm always, as usual, I'm
late to the party.
I'm late to the party.
Well,
but I'm still making.
But in New Hampshire, you're paying New Hampshire rates on power. I mean, it's going to kill you.
I'm only paying 8 cents.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like 15 cents.
No, hell no. I would have been dead a long time ago.
Okay, I didn't know how that. Okay.
I still don't think you're going to.
And when you consider I don't heat my house, this is a great way to heat your room.
No, it's not. They don't put off nearly that much heat.
Captain's heating his whole house, from what I understand.
My house is set at 52.
I know it is.
My room. I'm only heating
That's right.
one room.
You're comfortable with 52 degrees.
Oh, well,
though.
no, I'm not. No, I'm not comfortable. I'm comfortable saving all that money.
It warms his heart.
I mined Ravencoin off and on last year.
That's the next one on my list.
I wouldn't recommend it at the moment. It's down to about 10 coins a day as the reward because so many more people are mining it. So the reward isn't really cost effective. It still comes out to about 20 cents a day for the coins.
You know the Ravencoin guy lives in New Hampshire, right?
I did not.
Yeah, his name's Bruce Fenton.
Actually, I guess it's closer to about $2 a day in coins.
He threw the only crypto conference that New Hampshire has ever had. I believe they did an online one last year, but prior to that, I think it went for like 3 or 4 years in person. Good guy.
But it was easily mineable last year to the extent that I was getting like 40 coins a day.
Well, so was Ethereum, and now Ethereum is getting to the point where, I mean, if you don't have an 8 gig card, you're not going to do it with a 4.
Ethereum and Monero haven't really been GPU mineable in a long time. I mean, you can do it, sure, but it's not going to be profitable.
When Ethereum split, if I understand it, the last split, now it is GPU mineable, and that's really about it. Monero is only CPU.
No, they use ASICs to mine them.
We're getting off into the weeds here, guys.
But anyway, yeah, so it turned out to be effective because all of those Raven coins, they were mined at like 1 cent each or below a cent each, and now it's like 20 cents each. So definitely a profitable endeavor, but I don't think if the price stayed the same, it would have actually been worth it for the electricity cost.
Some of the old radio guys that I work with, some of the old veterans that have been in the talk radio business for a long time, they're starting to get interested in taking crypto, which is pretty sweet.
It is. And it's all a result of critical thinking. We're thinking things through, and that's why we got into cryptocurrency in the first place, seeing the economic trends and the fall of the USD. But evidently, critical thinking is bad, according to this guy at the New York Times. He says critical thinking, as we're taught to do it, isn't helping in the fight against misinformation. Now, that's a strange argument. Don't you think if somebody's presenting you with misinformation, the only way to conclude that it's incorrect would be to think it through?
No. See, now all you got to do is read the New York Times, and they'll do your thinking for you.
Not these days. We got to cancel that misinformation in a heartbeat. We can't have dudes in their basements, in their mom's basements, getting all this misinformation, because the next thing you know, they're storming the Capitol.
Look, Aria, you're too busy in your life. You don't have time to figure out all this hard stuff.
You need fact checkers.
Right. That's why we've got professionals at the New York Times. You can trust us.
Well, that's what they're asking.
You've always been able to trust us.
For an academic, Michael Caulfield has an odd request. Stop overthinking what you see online. Mr. Caulfield, a digital literacy expert, knows all too well that at this very moment, more people are fighting for the opportunity to lie to you than at perhaps any other point in human history. Those people are called politicians.
Now, that's not in the article, that last sentence that you just said. What's the evidence for that claim, that more people are fighting for the opportunity to lie to you? Is it just because we're on the internet now and more people can approach you than ever before?
But that also means more people are fighting to tell us the truth than at any other point in human history.
I don't know if I believe his claim.
Yeah, it's a bit misleading. It may in fact be misinformation.
Indeed.
Misinformation rides the greased algorithmic rails of powerful social media platforms and travels at velocities and in volumes that make it nearly impossible to stop. That alone makes information warfare an unfair fight for the average internet user. As not true, as we just pointed out, true information is trending in exactly the same ways. But Mr. Caulfield argues that the deck is stacked even further against us, that the way we're taught from a young age to evaluate and think critically about information is fundamentally flawed and out of step with the chaos of the current internet.
Now, to be fair, I don't honestly remember what they taught me about critical thinking in school, but it was the government that did teach it, so maybe it wasn't really good information. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be like debate class? The debate team would be where you'd learn critical thinking? Because I don't remember any classes that were specifically designed to teach any of that, except unless you're talking about math.
Yeah, I think it was just something that showed up in some class somewhere. I don't remember when it was. Like I have a vague memory of them talking about critical thinking. I don't remember if it was math class. I don't remember where it was, but it was something that was included at some point in my school.
Not at my school, I don't think.
Nor at mine,
no.
Which is a shame because that would obviously start with the logical absolutes and build from there, and it would be a valuable skill for adults to have in trying to figure out what is and isn't true.
Better believe it.
That's how you end up with Mitt Romney saying that he was and was not the CEO of Bain Capital in '99, and people going, yeah, that makes perfect sense. No, it doesn't, because it either is or isn't true. He can't have it both ways, and you would know that if you knew how to critically think. We're going to continue with why the New York Times says you should not think.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. convictions. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. Maybe you agree with the writer here at the New York Times. Maybe we shouldn't be thinking. There's just too much information out there. We can't process it. We need to rely on our wise leaders at the New York Times to instruct us on what to believe and exactly how to believe it without any actual thought from ourselves. 603-283-6160 is the call line. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
It's Ian.
And Conan.
And let's go to the phones. We've got Ridley calling from New Hampshire. Ridley, you're on Free Talk Live. Oh, let me unmute you. Sorry. Go ahead, Ridley.
Wrong one.
Is it?
Yep.
Have you guys been following this New Hampshire House Bill 63 that's trying to, I think that's the one that's trying to make it so that they would undo the penalties that have been levied for COVID violations?
I've heard about this, yeah.
I have not been following it.
And isn't this the one Sununu promises that he is going to veto if it comes across his desk?
Yes, and he's the one I wanted to talk about here because he's more interesting than the bill itself. So, as you know, many of I think maybe all the COVID violations up to this point, it's not really law, it's just edicts, right? He just signed something by himself like a dictator. And so his reaction to this was interesting. He attacks the reopeners who had sponsored this bill. He said, quote, we can't claim to support law and order, then incentivize law breaking and reward those who do not follow the rules, unquote.
Yeah, he didn't pass any laws. He just wrote a bunch of orders down. Now, of course, laws are just words on paper. I mean, they're just these strangers in the legislature who believe they should be able to control us. So I have no respect for what those people create either. But even under their system,
it's not a law. Yeah.
Yeah, even under their system, what he did was not lawmaking.
Right.
But unfortunately, the legislature years ago passed an executive order statute that authorizes the governor to do all kinds of things like this. So getting that cat back into the bag is going to be a pretty difficult thing to do. As you pointed out, obviously he's going to, I think Conan pointed out, obviously he's going to veto this if it passes the House. And it likely will not pass by veto-proof margins because the Democrats love Sununu on how he's handled COVID so far. I think they've got like a 7 out of 10 Dems approve of him or more. Wow. It might have been more than that, but either way, they love what he's done, so they're going to vote to protect his power. And so there's no chance, even if all the Republicans agreed, and they don't, the Republicans are split over COVID. Some of them are against all the insanity. Others are apparently afraid, and they're in favor of it. So there's absolutely no chance, especially no chance to actually repeal the executive order statutes, the ones that give him the authorization to take this emergency control in the first place.
Which I think is
now, there is also an attempt underway to codify some of his restrictions into law.
Such as?
I don't know which ones, except for I think they're remote learning, which I don't really care. But that was one of the ones that they were going to try to codify that into law, but many of the others, according to reopeningage.com.
Yep. It's been an interesting legislative session so far. I had yesterday a story about the insane Democrats in a recent, I guess, gathering that they had in like a soccer field because they're too afraid to actually have a meeting in the state house.
Absolutely.
Is this where they had?
Absolutely ridiculous. It looks like something from China.
It's insane. Did you see? So you saw the photos?
Oh yeah, it's stupid.
Is this where they had the brilliant idea to? Is this where they had the brilliant idea to just leave the Republicans in control of everything? And they're like, oh, crap, that didn't work, did it?
Well, they tried to leave. Some of them did, but the Republican speaker actually blocked them from leaving because if enough of them left, there would not have been a quorum.
And then he locked the doors.
And they supposedly locked them in the auditorium. So it was a very interesting, dramatic situation. Go ahead, Dave.
I've been ejected from the parking lot of that stadium.
Really?
When I tried to film a Trump rally, I was one of the first, maybe have been the first New Hampshireite ever kicked out of a Trump rally.
Are they streaming? Does anybody know? Are they actually streaming these legislative sessions? I imagine that they are, but I've not actually looked into it myself.
Well, I refer to Robert's Rules number 7 to my honorable good Jim. Who wants to watch that stuff?
It's terrible.
I certainly don't. Ridley, thank you so much for the call. Keep us updated on how this develops. I would hate to see any of Sununu's actions actually be codified into law by the New Hampshire legislature, but that's at least a higher hurdle for them to jump over than just having Sununu unilaterally write down something on a sheet of paper.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Time will tell. I'd rather see all of this crap lifted. But again, Sununu extended everything until I think March the 17th or the 14th or something like that.
Okay.
So maybe then he will finally be like, you know what?
My hopes up.
Other governors.
I expect we're going to be launching nightcaps again, just like last year.
I look forward to it. Yeah. Other governors are putting it into their stuff, though, and now seems like a good time as any to get into that. We can come back to the story about thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi is ending their mask mandates, allowing a full return to operation capacity at businesses. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves, a Republican, announced on Tuesday that he was lifting the mask mandates in his state effective tomorrow, and that businesses in the state would be able to return to operating at full capacity. Starting tomorrow, we are lifting. That basically just has that coming straight from him.
Wait a minute. There was something in there where it said they won't include any COVID rules. Is that what he said there in that quote?
I will read out the full quote. Then. Starting tomorrow, we are lifting all of our county mask mandates, and businesses will be able to operate at full capacity without any state-imposed rules.
Okay.
Do whatever you want,
That's
people.
Great.
Well, as long as, because he says, because the rates have been going down, and because the vaccine is readily available, that's the next step. It's how many, because he's probably not going to try it. Just like here in New Hampshire and across the country, it wasn't the government that, it wasn't local government that started throwing all these rules at us. Well before Sununu threw a mask mandate at us, Walmart had one in effect for 2 months. So it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be any level of government that's going to throw something like a mandatory vaccine.
You think corporate America is going to shove it down people's throats?
Oh yeah.
Well, I would take Tate Reeves at his words and start selling alcohol to 17-year-olds. He says you can operate without any state-imposed rules.
I don't think that's what he means, but
that's what
funny.
he said. And if his executive orders have the rule of law behind them, then surely his tweets do as well, right? This is an edict from the governor just as much as anything else.
That's a great way to interpret that.
I'm going to secede as well. Just
you haven't yet?
Just my point.
What have you been waiting on?
My 0.3 acres.
Yes, ShireSociety.com. Sign the declaration.
No, I've signed that.
Oh, then you're seceded.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I know. I mean, really secede.
Really?
Just my house.
Okay. Conelandia?
Conelandia.
So Reeves does go on to say something I think that's important. Executive orders that interfered with people's lives were the worst, but only possible intervention for much of the last year. Not sure I agree,
he's admitting that he did the worst possible thing?
Yes. He also says now we are putting our focus towards rapid vaccine distribution. We are getting out of the business of telling people what they can and can't do. Combine that with his tweet.
Wow.
And I think he just instituted anarchy in Mississippi.
In Mississippi.
We've been among the 4 or 5 most open states throughout this crisis, and we've been rewarded for it with more jobs and economic recovery.
That's true. I mean, Mississippi needs it, right? Aren't they in really dismal shape economically there?
They are just about the worst state in every single metric, from teen pregnancies to HIV to gonorrhea to poverty to illiteracy to obesity.
He's not saying what he actually means, obviously, because it's a politician. But but if he were actually saying, true words here, it would be an amazing day for Mississippi. If indeed there were no more government controls on any business in Mississippi, I mean,
would consider moving back.
Let's move.
That's not because what we put in place was a light burden. It's only because the rest of the country was so much worse. That's paraphrasing.
This is true.
That's good, but we need to recognize that none of these orders in any state are anything short of unprecedented. They have to end at the earliest possible moment. I hope other governors take his lead, and at least one other person, Governor Abbott, has also lifted their restrictions. We'll talk about that as well. What do you think? Is this too early? Are we going into wave number 6, 7? Is it time to end this year-long, 2-week lockdown to flatten the curve? 603-283-6160.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
You know that at some point in your life, an emergency is going to happen. You just don't know when. You could call the government and maybe they'll help, or they might shoot your dog. Why call potentially psychopathic strangers when you could ask your friends, family, or neighbors for help? Cell 411 makes decentralized emergency response possible, and it's free. Visit getcell411.com or download Cell 411 from your favorite app store. Getcell411.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Hewlett-Packard is known for their basic, no-frills computers, but that doesn't mean they can't keep up with the latest technology. In a press release yesterday, HP said, quote, "We are excited to begin offering that cloud thing that everyone is talking about. We definitely have the cloud on our computers, and it is better than anyone else's cloud." Earlier today, I sat down with HP spokesman Gary Klinman, who said the company couldn't wait to show people, quote, how they do their cloud stuff.
We are absolutely thrilled that now people with computers or phones, both will now be able to back things up to the cloud.
Klinman says it isn't surprising they're, quote, up on the cloud, considering they're on the cutting edge of all the latest tech trends. Are there any additional features?
Crowdsourcing is something we are having. Crowdsourcing 2.0. We have social sharing. We have 5G, 6G, really all the Gs. We have app. We have all of it in the computer.
This is the Onion News Network.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line. You can call and talk about anything you want, or maybe you want to weigh in on some of the lifting of the mask mandates that we're seeing. You can certainly do that, or change the subject, talk about something else entirely. Whatever you want, you can take control of the airwaves. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about AnyPay 2.0, because it's here, and crypto payments are now faster than ever if you're using the Edge Wallet, Handcash, Bitcoin.com, or Dash wallets. If you are, then your experience will be smooth and lightning fast. But some wallets aren't ready for the impressive new technology, and those wallet programmers need to hear from you, the wallet users. Visit anypayinc.com/upgrade to learn why some popular wallets are incompatible with the new technology, and reach out to the wallet programmers and encourage them to make payments perfect at anypayinc.com/upgrade. That's anypayinc.com/upgrade. Let's go to the phones. We've got Skylar calling from Concord. Skylar, you're on Free Talk Live. Are you with us?
I don't think you put him on the air.
No, I did.
You did not.
No, I keep hitting the same stupid button. No. Okay.
There you go.
It's been a while. Skylar, you're on Free Talk Live.
Are we good?
We are. What's on your mind?
Nice to see everybody. Thank you all for having me. I just want to say, I don't get paid for this, but the AnyPay app, I just discovered it the other, a week or so ago, and it's incredible. It streamlines Bitcoin or crypto banking very, very seamlessly. So I thought it was really cool.
Do you have a store at which you are accepting cryptocurrency?
I don't have a store that. Well, actually, I should let me rephrase that. I have a YouTube channel where I'm accepting cryptocurrency. So my YouTube channel is Savage Truth 603. I'm a political activist. I do a lot of different stuff throughout the state. I've mingled with a lot of people. I was the first person to be arrested at the governor's house for freedom of speech. And I'm trying to take my YouTube channel to a bigger direction, New Hampshire based, but on a bigger scale. So we were at the Wyndham Select Board meeting last night, and we were listening to people talk about the voting irregularities and how drastic they were. But I guess the only question that I have is anybody else noticing that King Tyrant Sununu has drastically changed his stance on COVID and lockdowns and mask mandates?
What did he do? Because I have not been paying attention. What did he do?
So he's very close to lifting mask mandates, and there's been a lot of talk of there was HB 43, I believe, was the House bill that they were talking about last night in Wyndham, where they want to relieve any businesses of fines or any licenses that have been revoked due to them not complying with the COVID mandates.
Right, yeah, we were just talking about that with Dave Ridley, who was speaking about the same subject, and how they wanted to, and Sununu's not a fan of that, saying, oh, well, you can't just ignore the law like that, right?
It's not a law, though.
That's right.
Yeah, but that's splitting hairs when it comes to the state. It's the powers that be giving us a rule, and that's what they consider to be a law.
And I agree with you. They consider it to be a law, but the rule of law says that it's not a law because a mandate is not a law. It's a suggestion. And if you go to New Hampshire Executive Order 74 and you look at it for yourself, the second half of the third page gives exemptions for people to not have to wear masks. And those exemptions are pretty much everybody. And that's not the governor kowtowing to people. I think that's him protecting himself from massive lawsuits. Because you can't require somebody to wear a medical device to use your facility if they don't need said medical device. And that's kind of what we're dealing with. I feel like he's taken a big back step, he's backpedaling because he knows that all these mask mandates and everything that he has done to shut down the state and ruin people's businesses is an infringement on our rights.
Well, he may know it, but why does he care now? If he's starting to back off, what is incentivizing this behavior?
The 2020 election. So Sununu is looking at a Senate run for 2022, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He wants to take Maggie Hassan's seat. So he has, since this COVID shit stuff.
You gotta dump him on that.
Yep.
I have not heard any of this. The last thing I heard from him concerning that particular bill that we were talking about that Ridley brought up, he specifically says, if this comes across my desk, I'm going to veto it. We can't have people, breaking the law that's supposed to be enabled to protect people. We can't have this, this taking place.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from Sununu that suggests he's backing off of the mask mandates.
I haven't either, but I don't watch everything he says, so.
But let's think about it. Let's put ourselves in his shoes. If he was going to run for, Senate in 2020 or 2022, what frame of mind would he want the voters to be? Because right now, these friggin' Republicans in this state love him. I mean, they love him.
Yeah, they do. He just handily defeated 2 opponents in the Republican primary, including our very own Nobody, who ran against him, as well as a woman named Karen, which is hilarious. She's very nice. And he crushed him. But if he doesn't come back in 2022, that would be an interesting opportunity for an Aria DiMezzo run.
I haven't been in New Hampshire for 7 years.
You haven't been here long enough.
But if he's running
or
against...
have I? When did I? I may have been here 7 years. Now that I think about it, this is my 7-year anniversary this year. I totally forgot.
If he's running against Hassan, who is a crazy liberal masky, maybe he wants to distance himself from that type of mentality, this
too early.
This lockdown mentality.
It doesn't make sense. It's too early. I mean, that election is...
I have a theory. If any Republican governors are out there are starting to loosen up, like Mississippi and Texas, I think it has a lot to do with MILF Kristi Noem, South Dakota governor, who didn't lock anything down. She was at the CPAC, and I caught little snippets of her speech. And she's going down the list. She's like, I didn't lock down anything. I didn't shut down anything. I didn't order any mask mandates unless you guys wanted to do it. I think she put a lot of these dudes
to shame.
I think she shamed a lot of Republican dudes who are waking up to the fact that, hey, there is truth in this. And by the way, Florida didn't do a whole lot either.
They don't care about truth, Conan.
They want to get reelected too, though.
That they do.
And so when the people,
but they just won re-election. By the time the next gubernatorial elections roll around, people aren't going to remember this crap. They're going to be thinking about Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's
we'll be at war
divorce.
with China by then. If you had heard the response from the attendees, the CPAC attendees, you would realize that she has the majority support.
Well, from the CPAC attendees, perhaps.
Anyone who's going to drive all the way and to attend something like that is already a diehard.
Isn't that a pro-Israel Zionist organization?
Well, I don't know, but the Republicans, the diehard Zionist Republicans, yes, who I don't know. I think a lot of Republican governors out there would like to have on their side, especially not just their vote, but to have them and their backing and their money.
At any rate, I'm not seeing anything about Sununu backing off a mask
mandates. I'm not either.
In fact,
I don't believe it.
He just extended them until March the 26th, so it's even worse than I thought.
Do you want to give him another comment here? Because I think that was an honest mistake.
Yeah, it was certainly a mistake. Skylar, are you still with us?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. So the reason that he is appealing to the left is because of exactly what you guys said. He has full control over the right, and he doesn't have to worry about appealing to the right at this point. He's done things for gun rights, which okay, cool. He's done things for some taxes, like the Democrats wanted to increase the highway tolls, and he vetoed that last minute. Like, I appreciate that, and I was super in Sununu's corner. Like, I want everybody to understand that. And now I see what he's doing, and he's pandering to the left. That's why he shut our state down. That's why he was super slow to open it back up. That's why he called this quote-unquote armed protester in his yard, who was just a regular citizen who was on public property carrying a concealed firearm. That's why he made himself out to be a victim and his family to be a victim, is because he's pandering to the left.
Yeah, and he's a coward.
He is a full-blown little bitch, especially on Twitter, always complaining about how these people are a threat to him. It's like, dude, no one has threatened you.
Oh, and he loves the federal government. I've seen him on his Twitter as well, where he's just like filleting the federal government and, give us money, give us money. I mean, he's pathetic. And I'm glad you're fighting this, Skylar. You're going to not take the plea deal on this. What's the status on your case?
So we just pled not guilty and asked for a jury trial.
Nice.
My biggest win, to be completely honest, is if we can depose the governor, and that's going to be the goal.
That would be fantastic.
is to get him on the stand and to make him testify as to exactly how we victimized him.
Please keep us in the loop on this. I want to come there and record this video. I want this trial to be in person so I can be there to get a recording of it, because we can't trust the state to do it. We need to do our own recording.
Absolutely. Keep us updated. 603-283-6160. How are things going in your state? Are things getting easier, better? Have you really seen that many people dying from COVID-19? 603-283-6160.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish, in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is a Fox News alert. Out of the running. I'm Lisa Lacera. Neera Tanden has withdrawn her name for consideration to lead the Office of Management and Budget after several senators said they would not back her after her social media post critical of senators on both sides of the aisle. In a statement, President Biden said she will serve in the administration in another capacity. The president says there will be enough COVID vaccine for all adult Americans by the end of May.
When we came into office, the prior administration had contracted for not nearly enough vaccine to cover adults in America. We rectified that.
The president had said earlier that enough vaccine would be available by the end of July. Drug maker Merck is teaming up with Johnson & Johnson to help make its one-dose vaccine. With 3 vaccines available, the president said he's confident the country would reach its goal of vaccination 100 million people in his first 100 days, but he reminded people of his request to wear masks during that same time period. Meanwhile, in Texas,
it is now time to open Texas 100%.
Governor Greg Abbott, who lifted the state's mask mandate effective March 10th, the state will also do away with limits on indoor dining. The National Transportation Safety Board will investigate this morning's deadly crash on a California highway.
California Highway Patrol officials say a big rig hauling 2 trailers crashed into a Ford Expedition that was carrying 25 people just north of the border. 12 people were found dead at the scene. Another died later at the hospital.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo has been confirmed by the Senate as President Biden's pick for Commerce Secretary. Wall Street at the close, stocks gave back some of yesterday's big gains. The Dow lost 143, the Nasdaq minus 230, the S&P off 31. America is listening to Fox News.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but here you go. You deserve to feel better than you do today. And you can with Headspace. They make meditation simple. Headspace is the one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research and can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, and increase your overall sense of well-being. Go to headspace.com/Fox for a free 1-month trial. This is the best deal offered right now. Headspace.com/Fox.
The U.S. has imposed sanctions against several Russians for the poisoning of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny.
Press Secretary Jen Psaki announced the U.S. sanctions for the poisoning of Navalny last August. The action targets high-level officials that our intel says had a hand in it.
7 senior members of the Russian government, an expansion of sanctions under the Chemical and Biological Weapons Control and Warfare Elimination Act, new export restrictions on items that could be used for biological agent and chemical production, and visa restrictions.
Missing were sanctions directly on Russian President Vladimir Putin. Psaki said that is to deter the action and try to keep a relationship moving forward. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
A federal judge rules school districts in Utah don't have to create football teams for girls.
U.S. District Court Judge Howard Nielsen said schools and coaches could do more to encourage girls to play football, but said because they allow girls to play on boys' teams, they aren't breaking the law. Sam Gordon led the effort to change the rules. Her football playing videos have garnered millions of views on YouTube. She was also in the NFL's commercial marking the 100th anniversary of the league in 2019. Can I have the ball, please?
You want this? Come and get it.
School districts were concerned about if there actually would be enough girls within their boundaries who would be interested in football. Rob Dawson, Fox News.
More than 200 artifacts from the Battle of the Alamo belonging to musicians.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
Did you know that 35% of high school girls report that they've only had sex with 1 or 2 partners a year, instead of having the living shit out of them by any guy they see?
Did you know that only half of all 17-year-old males report without a condom, even though it's really the only way to go?
There are thousands of American teenagers today who are unaware of the full benefits of your brains out all day, every day. These otherwise average high schoolers haven't been taught about every chance you get, pounding each other dry and never ever pulling out. Every sexually active high school student should know this stuff. Ditch the condoms, because it's always better raw. Stop worrying about STDs. Every chance you get. Just keep and strangers, doesn't matter who. And most importantly, be direct with your partner about how badly you want to their brains out.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line. That's 603-283-6160. With you tonight, it's Aria.
It's Ian.
And Conan.
And I was just looking up, there are interesting rules about determining domicile, which you have to have domiciled in New Hampshire for 7 years. And seeing as the first Fork Fest I attended was in 2015, since I intended to domicile here, technically, I think I could run for governor. I don't know, but it would be interesting to find out. Not really something I think I want to pursue, but who knows what
Nobody could go for a second run. Our co-host who ran against Sununu in this last election, and that, running once gets you that first initial, experience, maybe a little bit of name recognition. Running a second time, especially in an open race where there's no incumbent, might mean he'd get a little bit more attention.
Yeah, aren't there still articles, floating around, like fresh articles about nobody running for governor?
I haven't seen anything fresh.
I think there was one just recently.
Really?
One of our listeners sent it to us.
I missed that one.
Hold on, let me find it while we talk about something else.
Yeah, he did all right. I mean, considering that the media tried to completely exclude him from any kind of coverage. Sure. There was definitely some interest in his campaign, not nearly as much as I think the theme sort of deserved, or the idea deserved. I mean, the idea of nobody running for governor is hilarious, and there was a very small contingent of people who could appreciate it that even found out about it. But if it was an open race where there's no incumbent, maybe the
media would. Does he intend to run as a Republican?
Well, that's the thing.
I'm done with the Republicans at this point. I mean, it was fun and it was worth it, but I'm done. It's time to go back to being a libertarian and presumably
good luck with those libertarians because, there's a schism within the liberty movement over this masking thing.
That's true.
I mean, you've got even a former co-host here, Daryl Perry on Free Talk Live, has gone pro-mask. Now, that's probably because of Jackie, his wife, would be my guess, but he's gone pro-mask, and he's not the only one within the Libertarian Party in party leadership, specifically in New Hampshire, that are pro-mask. So it's ugly. The Nick Sarwark, who's the former chairman of the National Libertarian Party, he now lives in New Hampshire. And, I wasn't opposed to him moving here. I think he's an all right person as far as, person to person. But he is like... he's gone off pro-mask, and he is constantly posting on Twitter about
shaming.
Yeah, about mask, mask shaming stuff, shaming those who are unmasked.
Well, I only ever liked him because of his snark in the first place, and he's really good at snark. Yeah. But other than that, I don't really care what his opinions are. But the Democrats are kind of, I don't know, maybe I should run as a Democrat. They'd have to welcome me with open arms,
would they,
they?
Though?
Well, if they didn't, they're transphobic, right?
We've already,
they don't want
both
that.
Ian and I have run as Democrats. I think we both run as Republicans.
Yes, but you're not trans.
And libertarian.
Well, we're not trans.
When we had the opportunity.
Yeah, we're not
and
trans.
We're not Satanists either. So I mean, you have all of that on your game.
And we didn't get involved locally, Conan, when we ran.
But you don't
Democrat.
wear a mask unless you have to, and that's gonna hurt you. That's gonna kill you.
That's true.
I don't care, man.
That's true.
Well,
maybe there needs to be somebody with that message in the Democrat side. I mean, that was the reason I ran as a Democrat for governor.
They can't see that logic.
No, they can't. I mean, but the reason I ran as a Democrat for governor was because, I wanted to bring the message of liberty to the left. I mean, they deserve a chance to hear it too.
Well, the old mantra, live and let live, the Democrats from 30 years ago, that's not existent. So those are the people you want to talk to, the old hippie types.
I'm not sure they can't see it, Conan. When I ran for sheriff, I did a lot of interviews with leftists, and I was able to convince them that it's the mask mandates that are specifically the problem. It's turning your Starbucks workers, your gas station workers into law enforcement officers that is the issue. And many of them agreed. It's just a matter of finding the common ground and reaching them with that.
And having that conversation with them, and that's the most important part. If you can just sit them down long enough to convince them that there are other options, there are other ways to think about this. Sometimes that's all it takes. It's like the Faux King Great right here in Keene, where a restaurant that doesn't accept it, and then they're not playing these stupid ball games, and people just they probably walk in there and they like Ian says, like they're walking back into 2019. It's like, oh my God, this is an option.
Well, plus she's a really interesting character too, because she's actually a Jewish immigrant. So she's been through
who better to actually have this conversation? So she's got that on in her
right. So what do the
game.
liberals say to somebody like that, right? And as far as you, Aria, running for governor, you may have earned enough brownie points with some of the more hardcore leftists when you ran as a Republican sheriff's candidate. You blew up in the news media. I mean, nobody didn't even come to a fraction of what you did. And so it might be an interesting start of a gubernatorial run where you've got all this interesting history behind you, and to see if the Democrats actually treat you worse than the Republicans, because the Republicans,
this sounds fun.
The Republicans were at least nice to your face. Now, they weren't so nice apparently behind your back, some of them. Would the Democrats actually be nicer, or would they be even less tolerant than the Republicans?
It would be fun to find out.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phones. We got V Mystic calling. V Mystic, you're on Free Talk Live.
First of all, I really miss Gene. He was an amazing guy, and I always enjoyed his perspective.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Secondly, yesterday there was a caller from California who was having a hard time not wearing masks, and I wanted to reach out an invitation to invite him to join our Freedom Cell, which is a Jefferson Freedom Cell.
Where, and this
up
is
in
the
Northern
state of
California.
Jefferson?
Well, that's kind of how it got its name, but it's Jefferson Freedom Cell. We're definitely not associated with any state.
No, but I mean, you've heard of the state of Jefferson, obviously. You know what that is? Can you explain it for our listeners?
We do. Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Can you explain it for our listeners,
Are
please?
you a part? And are you a part of that movement?
The state of Jefferson is a secession movement to secede parts of California and Oregon to be their own state.
And are you part of that movement?
No, I'm an anarchist, so I don't want to be part of a state.
Gotcha.
But your group is named after it. Is that coincidental?
It's Jefferson Freedom Cell because the area here is associated with that kind of movement. But we didn't want to use a state name.
All right. So how can this person who's frustrated find your Freedom Cell?
So they can go to freedomcells.org and look for us there.
And what do you guys do?
Group.
I mean, is
we've
it just...
met in person.
Okay.
We meet to discuss voluntarism and agorism, and we get together and we actually do agorism and buy and sell things with each other.
Wow.
I've actually bought cryptocurrency with gold backs.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
That's very cool. Well, thank you so much for the call. It's always great to hear about what other activists are doing in other places.
Yeah, we don't hear it often enough, honestly.
It's frustrating that honestly, you could probably achieve so much more if you just moved to New Hampshire and joined us.
Well, I mean, it's
combine
something.
Our powers.
I mean, at least the Freedom Cells exist to help give people a group that they can at least talk to. Obviously, California is a pretty big place, but he's, I guess, specifically talking about Northern California here. I mean, he did say they got together in real life, that they're actually buying and selling from each other. So it sounds like a nice thing for people to have that they haven't had before, beyond whatever Libertarian Party meetings. And those were always just bitch fests where people complained about how bad things were. I expect that's a lot of what goes on in Freedom Cells as well, but I don't honestly know because we're doing so much here in New Hampshire. I mean, we have a Freedom Cell, but I don't think anybody talks in it very often. It's there, but...
I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, we're so busy with so many different projects. There's so much activism going on here. I don't think we really need the Freedom Cell.
Mm-mm.
I mean, there's different.
We got Telegram.
Yeah, there's different that's what Freedom Cells are. They're just Telegram groups.
Okay.
At least from what I've seen so far.
Well, then I guess we have one of those, or multiple.
We've got a ton
of
of Telegram groups here. In fact, I just saw that the Porcupine Freedom Festival has adopted Telegram as their official communications method for this year. So kudos to them.
Yeah, that is
a good choice.
Yeah.
Until they throw us out.
Who, Telegram?
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. The Telegram's run by a Russian anarchist.
Well, I mean, and his servers?
They're not in the United States.
That'll help.
Yeah. That's why they couldn't subpoena them during the Chris Cantwell trial.
Isn't that something, the way how things turn around, how the pendulum swings? It seems like, just hearing stories from dictator-run Russia, it almost seems like things are better over there.
No, they're not.
I agree with that, but I mean...
Telegram doesn't run servers in Russia either.
No.
They don't want the Russian government to have jurisdiction over their stuff either.
Isn't that why they left Russia? Because Russia attempted to get some information from them?
Did he leave Russia? I didn't know that.
Well, Telegram did.
Correct. They have no servers there, but I believe Pavel Durov may still be there. I don't know.
603-283-6160. That's the call-in line. You can call in and talk about anything you want. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by T.J. Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160 is the call-in number. You can talk about anything you want. 603-283-6160. With you tonight, it's Aria, Conan, and Ian. And we started the show talking about, why you shouldn't think for yourself. I mean, there's just too much bad information out there, and you have to trust the authorities and the New York Times to tell you what to think and what to do. But that's not without its dangers. And Conan, you have a terrific story about just how dangerous it is when people don't think for themselves.
Highlighting the importance of what you're saying. Yes, very important, but it's horrible.
It is absolutely disgusting.
This is one of those stories you start to hear, and you start to question whether it's even real or not. But I did verify. It did seem this. I was at the Toronto Times, and they covered this same story. This is from someone's blog, MRC TV. Peel Health, and that's P-E-E-L, Health, the local public health department of Peel, Ontario, is backtracking a policy mistake it made after facing widespread public backlash.
I think it's important to point out that this wasn't an accident. It's not like they accidentally did this.
They printed brochures. This was not a this was thought out. This was planned.
The only mistake was they didn't understand how the public would react to it.
They misread the public, like it seems a lot of powerful elites in this country have also done, and a lot of them have gotten away with it. But you can only push the sheeples so far before they start turning into either rams with horns or even wolves themselves, and they start fighting back and biting back. This is what happens. But this actually let us discuss what actually took place. That mistake was telling parents to quarantine their preschool and elementary age children alone in their room for 14 days if they came into contact with someone who later tests positive for COVID. Not that they were sick, not that they were needed to go to the hospital or just coming back from the hospital, but they were infected, which in this country and everywhere else just means that you took the stupid PCR test and it said that you were in fact, somewhere in your body you have trace elements of this infection in you, but not necessarily that you're sick or that you're going to spread the disease, but that you are infected.
But in this case, it's for people who they came in contact with. So even if they're not infected,
even worse,
they have to go to their room for 14 days. Remember did you guys have parents that ever sent you to your room as punishment? Like that was one that my parents did to me, and it was not a cool thing. Like you're being separated
for 14 days of that.
Like it's not fun for an hour as a kid. Well, for 14 days.
Well, we didn't have gadgets whenever we were, sent to our rooms. I don't know what you had. So if you got sent to your room, it was...
I don't think the gadgets are going to help a 4-year-old who gets sent to their room to quarantine for 14 days.
But I mean, it's not as bad as it was. But yeah, still, especially, it doesn't matter how old you are. It's almost like you're being punished for what? For
somebody else
getting
someone
sick?
else
getting sick?
Yeah.
And it's also worth pointing out that, again, Peel Health, the public health department of Ontario, isn't saying, oh, hey, we're sorry, we were incorrect and you shouldn't do this. Oh, we're sorry you reacted badly to this, so let us change it now.
Yeah.
So it's not science-based from the beginning. It's based on what they think they can get away with without the public overreacting.
Wouldn't you know? None of this is science-based. Masks, not science-based. There's no studies that actually prove that they're effective.
No,
the vaccine?
All of the data shows exactly the opposite.
Quarantine, isolating everyone, closing down businesses, restaurants, none of this is scientifically proven that's had any effect.
No, it's proven that it had no effect whatsoever.
Now it is.
But all of these were steps down the path towards locking your kids away from you. I mean, that's what this has come to now.
And vaccine passes to get on the plane to leave your plantation to go visit another plantation.
Have you seen the video from the Los Angeles school district?
I have not.
If you want to pull it up later, it's in my chat there on Telegram. It's I think the second to last message that I sent here before the show tonight. And it is it's one of those cutesy animated videos where it shows this kid going to class, and they've got this special pass that they're going to use and force down people's throats, and there it is right there, that video. It's ridiculous.
It's baby steps, and you know what? They got to get the kids because there's too many of us oldsters that are like, yeah, this is stupid. And it is. Mm-hmm. But if they ram it down these kids' throats, it's just like the Pledge of Allegiance in this country.
Sure.
You know who it was first introduced to? The Boy Scouts.
Is that right?
The kids, the schools. Because there were too many Civil War vets who were like, screw this damn country, screw this country, and that's why all the Knights of Columbus and all those statues, all these Civil War statues went up all around the same time, early 1900s. It was because you had socialists who wanted to defeat all the anger.
Well, the pledge was
all the rebels.
I don't think that's why the Confederate statues went up.
But I know that if you look around this country, the only thing you see are Civil War statues. Why don't we here in Keene?
One in Keene.
Why in Keene? Why do we have a damn Civil War statue? Why don't we have one of the founders or something up there? who actually founded this country. Why do we have someone who basically, every time I see that statue, you know what I see? Don't question your government. Don't ever try to leave this bad relationship. Don't ever try to divorce us, because we will destroy you. That's what I see when I see all these Civil War statues all over the damn country. It's sickening.
Well, no doubt, but let's get back into this article.
The Peel Health Department had issued flyers to parents of school children, including preschoolers as young as 4, containing guidelines for their kids returning to school. Among these was the stipulation that if a child has had contact with someone who tests positive afterward, the child must self-isolate, which means stay in a separate room, eat in a separate room apart from others, use a separate bathroom if possible, adding, if the child must leave their room, they should wear a mask and stay 2 meters apart from others. And here's the copy of the brochure, and it says exactly that. This is what you should do. Sent out to the parents, probably texted and emailed to them as well.
Why do they refer to this as self-isolation? Because the kids aren't isolating themselves. No 4-year-old is going to voluntarily put themselves in isolation for 14 days.
Voluntarily punish themselves? Hell no.
It's involuntary isolation.
All of this is countrywide isolation. Lockdown is not voluntary, in my opinion. There's only a few crazies out there that are all about it.
Well, the self-isolation, what they mean is the government isn't forcing this upon them. The parents are choosing to do this to their children. They're choosing this.
Yes, but they think they're not accountable because they're just following government orders. So they're not actually the ones torturing their children, right? No.
Right. When they're little kids,
that's what they tell themselves.
Yeah, when their child grows up and becomes a bizarre, distorted version
American
of an adult,
Psycho, or in this case, Canadian Psycho.
They can go to their parents and complain about it, and their mom can just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, son. They told me to do it, and I just do everything I'm told to do." Here's a tweet, ostensibly from a woman in which province was this? Ontario province. She says, I have my 7-year-old in isolation downstairs. He keeps messaging me on Facebook Messenger, Mommy, I'm lonely. My 5-year-old wrote in his journal entry today that he's sad because his brother isn't here. I set up a baby monitor to let the 8-year-old ask for things. The 5-year-old is using it to talk to the 8-year-old. Although she just said 7-year-old. I don't know how many kids she has. Apparently she's got more than one child in isolation.
This is proof the Milgram experiment is not an experiment. It is fact.
The what experiment?
The Milgram experiment, where people obey people with uniforms.
603-283-6160. What do you think about this horror show?
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
When you're coping with bad news and the news media come calling, and they will, don't clam up. As notorious political figures find out the hard way, the cover-up can be worse than the crime. So get out in front of unfavorable news about your company, your group, or organization, or yourself. The sooner you confront a negative story, the sooner it will be over. Responding as quickly to negative stories as you do to positive ones enhances your credibility. Hiding embarrassing information or lying will do more damage than damage control. Never stonewall. Tell your side of the story, use specifics, and detail what corrective action has already been taken. Respond in kind. If the issue is emotional, don't sound like a cold, unemotional Mr. Spock. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's the call-in line, 603-283-6160. And we've heard some good news tonight, or relatively good news, from Mississippi and Texas, ending their lockdowns and their mask mandates. And then we're hearing just horrific news out of Ontario, where they suggested with straight faces that parents quarantine 4-year-old children for 2 weeks, locked in their bedrooms without contact with other people. And I cannot even begin to imagine what that level of isolation will do to permanently traumatize a 4-year-old child.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if any of these people at the Ministry of Health here in Canada have kids. And if they, because I'm hoping they don't.
Is the psychological damage to a 4-year-old spending 2 weeks in isolation worth even saving your grandmother's life at that point?
Right.
I mean, you are destroying a 4-year-old for life.
Any grandparent worth their salt would be like, yeah, you know what?
Don't do that.
Don't do that. If you need to take me out and take me out to the shed, right, take old granddad out, I'll give my life for the rest of this kid's life. This kid,
it's going to be messed up for life, for sure.
14 days. That's all it takes. I mean, kids rebound. Kids are rubbery. They will rebound. But I'm telling you what,
but trauma never goes away.
It's going to get buried. It's going to get buried in the back somewhere, and it might come out when they're 30, and they might repeat the incident on their kids. So the cycle just gets repeated.
It gets worse, though. And Ian, you brought in this video from the Los Angeles Unified School District, and I want to play it for people because it's just absolutely bizarre. Just the first 20 seconds that I saw, I was like, no, we have to listen to this on the air. And of course, you can't see it, but the commentary,
you could describe the animation style, and
sure,
it's this cutesy, super lame.
There's never been anything like this virus in our lifetime. Often, it's hard to see the effects it's having on our children.
It is very bad
animation.
animation.
Has this conversation taken place in your home?
Mom, I'm scared about going back to school. I don't want to get sick, and I don't want to get you and Dad sick.
Our scientists
It used to be, I'm scared of going to school because my teacher's going to touch me, or I'm going to get beaten up by a bully, or whatever. I mean, so kids have had a lot of reasons to not want to go to school for a long time because government school sucks. But instead of using this as an opportunity to get their kids out of school, the people, the statists, they're fighting over whether the school should be open or closed. And so now
the teachers union don't even want to go back to work because they'd rather not go back to work.
Sure,
but that's and get a paycheck for the next year.
Yeah, but that's what everybody gets all caught up in. So now you got the people on the right who are saying, no, open the schools. We need to send our kids back to these propaganda centers. And then the people on the left are saying, no, we don't want to work. Keep the schools closed. But either way, no one is saying, don't ever open the schools again. Abolish the schools. Yeah. Don't send your kids to the schools. Parents, is your perfect opportunity to get out. So now Los Angeles School District has a proposal to help keep kids safe at school.
And by the way, this kid talking about how I don't want to go back to school because I don't want to get you guys sick. Where is he hearing all of this, or her, or whoever it is?
I wanted to call attention to that as well. I'm glad you brought it up.
Where do they get this messaging from?
Well, from the media. From their parents.
But they're not going to school. They're at home all day. Their parents are at work. They're just stuck at home. So where are they getting it? Is it social media?
Well, it's everywhere. I mean, if you've watched any television at all within the last year, it's propagandized.
It's nonstop.
Everywhere.
Don't kids know how to ad block? Or are we talking about YouTube?
That's why I said watch
YouTube
television. Which, the 35 hours a week is what the average American spends watching television. They're being bombarded with this propaganda.
I didn't know kids
constantly.
watch TV anymore.
Maybe they don't.
Kids are actually at 40 hours per week.
Really?
I thought that was like
television?
Yeah, but it's like YouTube and stuff, and it's like
wait, are they counting?
Games.
Hold on, are they counting YouTube as television?
I do not know
because they don't even have Saturday morning cartoons anymore, so they're not watching
but this
cartoons.
Crap is still there on.
It's still on YouTube.
As well.
Yeah, this is everywhere amongst popular culture. This is everywhere. Now, I don't watch television, but we used to go to a bar pretty regularly here over the last years. Sadly, they closed due to various different circumstances, but they always had TVs on in that bar, and whether it be on the sports channels or the news channels, it's nonstop propaganda.
I listened to the one of the local rock stations here. They got their own damn COVID jingle. It's the COVID-19 update.
Oh, Jesus. That's what I'm talking about.
Just like that. It's like it's so cheery. And what do? They go right into this is how many people died in Vermont and New Hampshire today. This is how many people are in the hospital. Rah!
Well, imagine you're asking where they get this. A lot of these kids are still going to school virtually, right? So they're still going into the classroom. They're still getting whatever dose of propaganda the government is giving to them. They're just getting it virtually.
There are 3 things we must do to stay safe. Wear masks, make sure we social distance, and wash our hands. And now, your school, with the help of Microsoft Corporation.
Oh, this is off to a promising start now. I would point out that if people wash their hands more often, then they wouldn't have to do the first 2 things, even if they were scientifically valid.
Microsoft Corporation, Bill Gates. This is his dream.
That's right.
This is his dream come true. This is his sim world.
Los Angeles.
Where he gets to control everything. And the first thing he's going to do is he's going to prevent you from leaving your plantation when you're not supposed to. And the best way to do that is force some mRNA vaccines down your throat.
Well, in this case, it's the hall pass.
Make you get a special hall pass.
Yeah, this is a new hall pass.
Has created another. Introducing Daily Pass, your exclusive ticket for safely going back to school.
Oh, God.
Each week, you can schedule your free on-campus COVID test.
Each week.
The results are
each
displayed.
week. A COVID test every week. This is what they're doing at Keene State College.
They're doing multiple a week, aren't they?
At least once a week. If it's more, it wouldn't surprise me. But
I think it was 3 a week last semester. I don't know what it is.
They got to get rid of it. The damn PCR test is so ridiculous. I thought the CDC came down and stated, and the FDA stated that the cycles you're cycling these up too many times.
They moved it down, didn't they? On Biden's inauguration, they moved the cycles down.
The day of the inauguration is when the cases started coming down.
So there are going to be fewer cases, but they're still testing left and right. So once a week testing.
And the testing, from what I've heard, is not pleasant.
It depends on which one it is, because the Chinese are doing it via the anal swab. But if I understand
correctly, I guess it depends on your definition of pleasant.
If I understand correctly, they're not forcing that toothpick all the way down and basically touching your brain.
What I want to know is, if this virus is so contagious, why do they have to go so far into your nose in order to find traces of it?
And touch your brain.
Yeah.
Unless that's the point. Unless there's something,
free lobotomies for all.
Unless there's something on that Q-tip, then they're actually trying. I don't know.
I wouldn't put anything past the government.
I don't trust this vaccine at all.
In your Daily Pass. And if you choose to take your test off campus, you can post the results in your Daily Pass. And the moment vaccinations are available, you'll simply be able to schedule yours through your Daily Pass.
By the way, this is all
digital. This is all on your phone or something.
Yeah, it appears to be an app of some sort.
It's a Microsoft functioning, Microsoft programmed system that the Los Angeles School District is saying, now you have to have a daily pass. You've got to check out. You've got to answer questions about your health. I think that's what they're going to get to here in just a moment. Every single day in order to even get into to school and have a weekly test.
10 years ago, I took my daughter overslept, and so I had to drive her into school, and I walked her into the office there, and I'm standing there. She scampered off. And I'm like, dude, is there anything I have to sign? She's late and whatnot. She says, oh no, we take care of that. It's just a fingerprint. And I was like, what? Oh yeah, we have a little thumb scanner here. The kids just put their fingers down. I didn't approve any of this. It's like, oh, it's been in effect for 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't go to all the PTA?
I never got that memo.
You didn't go to all the PTA meetings and spend hours and hours and hours of your life arguing with all the other parents?
We just did a roll call.
It turns out we did roll calls, yeah. Sure. But I mean, it turns out every single bus in the fleet had them. They had them right there on the bus. Wow. So you get on the bus and you thumbprint in.
This was in New Hampshire?
This was in Kentucky.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tennessee. But I mean, yeah, all of this is cumulative. This is little steps, little baby steps, and before you know it, you get the thumb is taking your blood sample and checking your DNA, and it's Gattaca style. And then before you know it, if you
it's what style?
It's a movie.
Gattaca is where if you are a DNA a lesser human being, you are left to janitoring, where all of the superhumans, the Aryans, get to have the spaceship jobs. It's pretty sick movie, and it's actually I think it's foretelling that this is where we might be moving to.
What do you think? Is Conan right or wrong? 603-283-6160 is the call line. We're going to continue this music from the Los Angeles School District because it is absolutely horrifying. 603-283-6160.
Free Talk Live.
Trisha, you deserve the forgiveness. Absolutely. I know that it feels like you've made some mistakes, and you know what? You have made mistakes. Now, it doesn't feel like this.
Who hasn't?
Right. A, it doesn't make any sense for you to continue to beat yourself up. You're not going to get anything out of it. Nobody else is going to get anything out of it.
That's true.
B, you would give the forgiveness to somebody else. You deserve that forgiveness for yourself.
And only you can give it to yourself.
I mean,
and I think forgiveness is about moving on for yourself. Being able to come to a position in your own mind where you're ready to just accept what went wrong and try your best to do better in the future. And find self-assess and find areas that you can improve. And I think, bringing forgiveness to the table for yourself is one of the most important things that you can do.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
This is Free Talk Live. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line. You can call in, talk about anything you want. 603-283-6160. And you can join us this year and other liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June the 28th through July the 4th at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Fork Fest is the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, or the week of the Porcupine Freedom Festival and the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival. It all depends on who you ask, because Fork Fest is decentralized, so no one is in charge. It also means there's no ticket cost. All you have to do is reserve your camping site, your RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June the 28th through July the 4th. And there isn't a better way to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire. You can find out more about it by visiting forkfest.party. There's links to the unofficial Forkfest forum and the unofficial Telegram chat. Again, you can find it all at forkfest.party. So mark your calendar for June the 28th through July the 4th. Forkfest.party. We will see you there. Well, Conan, I don't think you'll be there. You've never gone, have you?
To Forkfest?
Yes.
No, just regular old Porcupine Fest.
Well, Forkfest is its own animal. I would definitely recommend it.
If you're feeling depressed, get on out to Forkfest.
I'm doing just fine in the middle of the summer when the garden is kicking in and I got all that sunshine. Oh no, it's no problem then. It's February.
It's nice to be around maybe a couple hundred people that don't want to put a mask on.
I could only handle so much of you anarchists, you crazy people out there doing what you do around the campfire. You know.
Oh man, it's a good time.
I believe it. But I'm getting older. I'm starting to settle down.
Well, let's go to the phones. We got Stefan calling from Georgia. Stefan, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, I called to comment on a couple of things, more specifically some of the things I've heard from Conan in the last 20 minutes regarding COVID-19.
Okay.
So, first of all, he was saying it was possible when they do the swab test, and he said it's basically touching your brain. Well, we've had the science figured out for a long time. I suggest you crack open a book that was written 160 years ago. It's called Gray's Anatomy. And anybody who has read the book and has taken it in would know that it's impossible for these swabs to even reach the brain unless you suffer from a condition known as intracranial hypertension, where there's already a hole in your cribriform plate. And if that was the case, you'd already have so many other symptoms going on that your doctor wouldn't even consider giving you a COVID test.
Well, I'll tell you what, whatever it is that's in there, I don't want something touching it unnecessarily. So, screw them.
Definitely not harmful for them to take the swab. But also, Conan, you had said that it was around the time that Joe Biden was inaugurated, the day he was inaugurated, that COVID-19 cases began to fall. Well, this is also demonstrably false, because this was happening a little bit before he was inaugurated. This was early January.
Not the stats that I'm looking at, but maybe you're looking at a different chart.
From what I understand, the order to reduce the number of cycles on the PCR test came out the same day that Biden was elected.
I was referring to the amount of cases that have been documented in total.
The reason why you've seen it falling since that time is because of due to the PCR test cycles going down. So they're less likely to have false positives because of that.
I was going to ask, have any of you had a COVID test at any point?
God, no. Why would I
not getting one?
Why the hell would I do that to myself?
Well, I was required to for my work for quite a while there, and it's really not that big of a deal. And I think a lot of it has to do with people that...
It's a big deal because a bunch of people are being told what to do, and they're lining up like obedient little serfs and doing everything they're told to do. Now, look, if you got to do it for your job or whatever, and you're not willing to take a new career, I get it. But all these people being so obedient, that's why things are as bad as they are right now.
I would also argue that it's a big list,
and you're on a list
anywhere in the
afterwards.
United States that mandates testing.
What's that?
There are, and I plan to get into that.
Is there a jurisdiction anywhere in the United States that mandates you get the swab?
There absolutely are. In fact, the state of New Mexico is being sued over that, and I'm planning to talk about it later. But you say the COVID-19 test isn't a big deal. It is if you don't consent to it, and I don't consent to it.
You don't have to consent to it. Civilians aren't being lined up. They're not going door to door and rounding people up in an attempt to test people for COVID-19.
No, they're just having a bunch of corporations which employ a large chunk of the United States population shove it down people's throats or else they get fired.
That is the rules of the corporation. I mean, I thought we believed
and
in
they're
free
all
markets
tools
here.
of the
Are they not allowed
government.
to set
This
their
isn't
own
a free market, dude. Where the hell have you been?
Yeah,
are you in
not
favor
saying
of all
in
this
theory
stuff? Stefan, we haven't heard from
I'm
you in a
saying-
long time. Are you in favor of all the masks and stuff? Are you one of those people?
In fact, this situation is most of what's brought me away from voluntarism and become more of a civil libertarian by and large.
What's that mean?
Because I was told for years by this community, we don't need a state, because if we don't have a state, we can handle this all on our own. And meanwhile, 500,000 people are dead, which shows nothing
Oh
but
my
blatant
God!
irresponsibility.
People died,
and it has nothing to
Whoa.
do with the state.
Did they-
and it has nothing.
Did they die of COVID, or did they also have COVID and died of something else? Because even the CDC has come out. Even the CDC has come out and said that those numbers are not accurate.
Hold on. Stefan has a question.
I'll ask you a question for people who bring this up. If I have a thoracic aortic aneurysm, which is a dilation of the thoracic aorta, and a car hits me, and it causes my aortic aneurysm to rupture, and I go into shock and die, what killed me, the thoracic aortic aneurysm or the guy that hit me with a car?
Obviously, the guy hit. Well, hold on. So you didn't die from the aneurysm? You died from the car crash, correct?
No, I'm asking
That's what killed you.
think. If I already had an aneurysm and I got hit by the car, what killed me?
It depends on what killed you first. That's a stupid question.
I'm saying this is what people bring up.
If you had a heart attack and you also had COVID-19 via a PCR test that's faulty, you died of a heart attack. You didn't die from COVID. If you died in a motorcycle wreck and you had COVID-19 because of the faulty PCR test, you died of a motorcycle accident.
Hey, Stefan, how many people have, and I think you work in the healthcare field, but how many people in your life personally have died from COVID?
4.
Okay. Who are they?
My grandmother, my Uncle Tony, but he was obese, so I guess he doesn't count.
Nope.
And a couple of coworkers.
Okay. So you've had 4 people die from COVID. Now, of course, we've seen the COVID numbers are dramatically inflated. They'll give, was it a papaya, I think, tested positive?
And a goat.
For COVID. There's people who've tested. Elon Musk got 4 tests for COVID. 2 were positive, 2 were negative.
You had this rapper who tested each nostril, and 1 was positive and 1 was negative. I think it was Erykah Badu or whatnot.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's a load of crap, Stefan.
By the way, your COVID numbers, it peaked the week of the inauguration. It peaked. That's when it started to go down. So the following week after the 6th, it was the 6th, right?
The inauguration was the 20th.
All right. Actually, it peaked. It looks like the 12th. That's where it was at its highest point. And then it starts to go down. And this is from the CDC.gov.
So what is a civil libertarian? You said that it was all this that drove you away from voluntarism, I think it was, into civil libertarianism. What does that mean?
Civil libertarianism is basically, it follows the non-aggression principle as far as your civil rights go. You can do whatever you'd like so long as it does not affect other people. And I'm sorry, if you're responsible for spreading a pathogen, that does affect other people.
So what does that mean as far as those of us who actually want to live free and walk around like normal people without being forced to wear masks?
It really depends. Are you putting yourself in a public establishment which
all
could
the
harm
time?
other people who are
You think you
trying
should
their
be able to
best follow
shoot
the
me?
rules? Who said I should be able to shoot?
I'm asking you, what should be able to happen?
I do believe that. I personally would impose a fine of at least $2,500 because if you hit people in the wallet, they actually listen to you.
Okay, I thought you said you believed that people could do what they want as long as they don't harm anyone.
And how is that non-aggression?
He actually didn't
money from people.
He actually didn't even say without harming them. He said without even affecting them.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the influenza that we've been dealing with our whole lives? By the way, it's non-existent. It's down to like 400 cases this year. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's like 400 cases. This whole year, it's like it is non-existent.
The same thing happened with
You've never had
rotavirus
400 cases
ago.
of the flu in a year in the past, ever.
It's a phenomenon that's being looked at. The same thing happened
Oh my
with rotavirus
God,
10 years
dude!
ago.
Can you hear yourself?
I know, because of social distancing and masks, that has completely wiped influenza right off the map. But COVID,
nobody said that.
Yes, that's exactly what they're saying.
Is extremely nuanced.
That is exactly what they're saying. Mainstream crap news.
Do you actually believe the words coming out of your mouth, or are you just trolling?
No, I am listening to individuals who are in the medical field.
Oh,
it's more
well, me
nuanced
too.
than you think it is.
We've listened to people in the medical field, and you know what? They say different things. Huh. They have different opinions. Wow. Imagine that. Isn't that why they say get a second opinion? They're opinions. Have you ever heard get a second opinion? When you go to one doctor, he says a thing, another doctor might say a different thing.
Stephen, thank you so much for the interesting call.
Wow.
You mentioned research. I think it was Reason.com that did a lengthy article about the various data and studies. And I mean, they showed definitively, beyond any reasonable doubt whatsoever, that the mask mandates, the social distancing, and the lockdowns have achieved nothing. This is Free Talk Live.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Faster than expected. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Biden says a new partnership will ensure there's enough COVID vaccine for every adult in America by the end of May.
Johnson & Johnson and Merck will work together to expand the production of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine.
And the president said his challenge to all states, territories, and the District of Columbia is he wants every educator, school staff member, and child care worker to get at least one shot by the end of this month so that children can return to in-person school. In Texas,
it is now time to open Texas 100%.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott made the announcement of rolling back COVID-19 restrictions at a Mexican restaurant. He says so many businesses have been hurt by the coronavirus.
Too many Texans have been sidelined from employment opportunities.
He defended the timing, saying vaccinations are increasing and Texans know how to protect themselves. Harris County Judge Lena Hidalgo isn't pleased, saying her county has worked hard to mitigate the spread.
By wearing our face coverings, by avoiding gatherings, by avoiding crowded places.
Rob Dawson, Fox News.
The president's pick to lead the Office of Management and Budget, Neera Tanden, has withdrawn her nomination as she faces opposition from key Senate Democrats and Republicans for her controversial tweets. She did apologize for them during a confirmation hearing. President Biden, in a statement, said he looks forward to her serving in his administration in another role. 13 people were killed when an SUV carrying 25 people crashed into a semi on a Southern California highway.
Some of the victims were ejected from the vehicle. There's some walking wounded that pulled themselves out of the vehicles.
CHP Chief Omar Watson, the National Transportation Safety Board, will investigate the cause of the crash. America is listening to Fox News.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but here you go. You deserve to feel better than you do today. And you can with Headspace. They make meditation simple. Headspace is one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research and can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, and increase your overall sense of well-being. Go to headspace.com/Fox for a free 1-month trial. This is the best deal offered right now. Headspace.com/Fox.
4 states are opening up eligibility for the COVID-19 vaccine, including one in the Midwest.
Ohio is expanding its list to about 1 million people more now eligible for the coronavirus vaccine, including 60-year-olds, people with certain medical conditions, and in some occupations, for whom shots begin this week.
There's still significant demand out there.
Governor Mike DeWine also adding pregnant women, should they choose to be eligible for the coronavirus vaccine under the new criteria. And
all the new vaccine that is coming in, very significant increase, and that there is available vaccine in a number of sites right now in Ohio.
Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The Archdiocese of New Orleans is advising Roman Catholics that the COVID vaccine from Johnson & Johnson is what they're calling morally compromised because it uses cell lines from aborted fetuses, adding that Catholics should get vaccines made by Moderna or Pfizer if available. One car company making big changes to its business plan and to its vehicles.
Volvo Cars is going all electric by the year 2030 and will shift all sales online under the name Care by Volvo. The company also plans to cut dealers out of the car buying process, and the company will control pricing. Showrooms will be used for showing some models, picking up cars, and for service. Chief Technology Officer Henrik Green says there is no long-term future for cars with an internal combustion engine. Volvo is owned by...
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
While waiting to interview for a web consultant position with local marketing firm Bizco, applicant Ryan Ehrlich told Onion reporters he wasn't entirely sure he was dynamic enough for his prospective employer.
When I first saw that the agency was looking for a leader willing to contribute as a valued member of the team, I thought I was the perfect fit. But the more I think about it, the less I'm sure I'm actually an energetic self-starter. I mean, I think I'm a versatile independent thinker, but honestly, how do you even know for sure?
Ehrlich, who found Bizco's online job posting earlier this week, went on to express doubts that he truly possesses the forward-thinking instincts and next-generation idea assets required to work with the fast-paced marketing firm's team of self-starters.
Can I reimagine a brand for a digital landscape? Sure, but do I really have the energy, skills, enthusiasm, and passion to be a part of this dynamic, growth-oriented company? I just don't know. Oh God. who am I kidding? There's no way I'm on the cutting edge.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Final hour here of Free Talk Live. You're welcome to call in, join the show, talk about whatever you want. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line. That's 603-283-6160. With you tonight, it's Aria, Ian, and Conan. And of course, we've been talking about COVID-19 and the hopefully inevitable demise of COVID-19. Evidently, it killed the flu. I haven't actually looked at hard numbers, but you say it's 400 cases of the flu.
And before that, it was like, what, between 20 and 60,000 a year in the U.S., and now it's 400?
Now, I was recently sick.
Just wrap your head around that. Is it because we've been social distancing and because of all the masks? Because that's what mainstream media will tell you.
Well, if that was the case, it would also, be doing something about COVID, would it not?
Exactly. So where's the logic? Why is COVID so prevalent? Because it's so much of a nastier, more infectious disease? Or is it just what it is? Corona.
Well, it's a cold.
Coronavirus, which has been around for at least 20 years and probably even longer than that. It's not a new thing. This variant might be new, but it's not new.
No, and it's hilarious in hindsight seeing all of these articles about how, this new strain of the virus, it evades the vaccine or whatever. It's like, well, yeah, we knew this was going to happen because...
You mean the new mutant strains that Fauci keeps talking about? You gotta watch out for the new mutants.
Well, I mean, they're everywhere. And we knew this was going to happen because it's a variant of the common cold. And the entire reason we don't have a vaccine for the common cold is that it's constantly mutating and evolving too fast for us to keep up with.
Correct, but no one's talking about what you actually should do.
Which is wash your freaking hands.
Well, they do say that a lot, but they're not saying, hey, how about some vitamin D? How about some vitamin C? How about going out in the sun and getting some nice sunshine? How about actually going out and talking to your fellow human being and shaking their hands and maybe getting spat on from some little bit of spittle when they're talking to you? Because that's how you build your immune system, which, by the way, is pretty good stuff.
Good.
It's pretty good.
Right, your immune system's so good that if you actually do catch COVID, like if you really do catch it, you'll beat it.
You'll beat it. And that's and a lot of people who have had it, who had the PCR test, have it PCR tested positive, they don't even know they had it.
Sure.
Who's dying from COVID? It's people in nursing homes. It's old people.
Right.
It's obese people. It's people who are going to die from something else anyways.
Right.
The actual numbers from the CDC of people who have actually died of nothing but COVID is only like, what, 10% of the 500,000?
People like that last caller who used to be a good libertarian voluntarist person have lost their minds.
Who wants to fine you $2,500 if you even go out without your COVID pass.
They've lost their minds. And it's so sad what's happened to the libertarian movement over this.
It's sad. The whole damn human race, it's sad. And
well, yeah.
We were talking.
Nothing is sadder about the human race than how the entire internet just spent a week arguing about the gender of a potato toy.
Yeah,
sure.
Nothing means that humanity is more doomed than that.
I think they're trying to take their minds off of all of this nonsense.
Nonsense.
Exactly. Because it's like Hollywood nonsense. It's like.
I want to discuss this briefly.
It's almost not even real. It's so stupid. It's almost like watching a movie.
No.
It's so stupid.
No, because it is real. It is real. These people are so privileged, so insane, and so overly obnoxiously privileged that they have nothing better to do than argue about the gender of a toy.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about.
Can you imagine being that privileged on the same day, on the same week, in the same month that President? No, it was the same day. On the same day that Biden dropped bombs in Syria, Twitter and Facebook erupted into a war about the gender of a potato.
That's right.
There's nothing more privileged than that.
Aria. No, it makes perfect sense. It's distraction.
Yes, they have the privilege of being distracted from the fact that Biden just dropped bombs on innocent people.
The puppet masters have distracted the masses, the three tribes maybe, from thinking about what is actually taking place. People are dying. Brown, sandy people over in another world are dying because of missiles that we paid for.
Well, I didn't pay for it.
They took the money out of my damn paycheck.
Fair point.
Yeah, I paid for it. I don't believe in it. I don't agree with it. But yeah, the money came from my ass. And
instead of caring about that, what did the internet care about? Mr. Potato Head.
Potato Head Jenner.
Or Mrs. Potato Head. Or Zer Potato Head. Or whatever freaking genderless pronoun you want to use for a freaking potato toy. And when that didn't work, what did they do? They moved on to Dr. Seuss. Let's argue about Dr. Seuss now.
Yes, that's the new one, and it's
what are they saying about Dr. Seuss?
What is like six books have been removed from publication.
Really?
And the Southern Poverty Law Center or whatever they're called are saying 6 isn't enough. You need to take out these books from him as well.
Oh my God, I didn't even hear about this one.
And I was thinking about that. So supposedly some of the characters are racially insensitive. And
are we going to cancel Superman? Because the original Superman comics from like the 30s and 40s were super racist.
Who's the last guy? Who's the Witcher character? The Witcher actor? He's out.
I don't know.
He's out. They have a new Superman director. It's probably going to be so and so. What's his name? And a new writer. And we're probably going to get a black Superman next. Because
I'm fine with that.
It's because but. If it makes sense, if it's something that's needed to be done, but I mean,
no one ever said the Kryptonians or whatever they're called had to be white. I mean, why would they be?
Who cares?
They should be. They would probably be purple or gray.
I was about
or something.
to say his dad was black, but that was James Earl Jones, and that's
But no
Mark Hamill.
doubt people will argue over that stupid crap too when it happens.
It's coming.
Yep.
But this is all about cancel culture, and I was thinking about this today about.
See,
what is it? What's it really about? And it to me, it's just. It's the normies, the people who are just working regular jobs.
Normies.
It's the Karens of the world who are just normal women who have, maybe they might have been or maybe not were cheerleaders in high school, and they had their little cliques and whatnot, and it's turned into this, which is basically
it goes beyond
it's basically
Karens.
it's bullying.
I don't know that I can
it's
agree.
Bullying.
Yeah, it is.
And
absolutely.
it's like I can't go to work and tell everyone what to do because I'm not the boss. But I can come home from work, I could put my feet up, I can get online, and I could bully the hell out of everyone about just anything that bothers me. I could just pick things out of the hat. I could just find whatever, and this is my excuses. This is my out. This is my escape.
Well, being the boss doesn't necessarily prevent people from doing that. And I can tell you some stories about some coworkers I have, but I'm not sure I can agree because you do have authors like J.K. Rowling who, created the Harry Potter series, who I refuse to support now because she's a transphobic lunatic.
Is she?
She is, absolutely. She's 100% a TERF, trans-exclusionary, reactionary feminist. There's zero doubt about that whatsoever. So I don't support Harry Potter anymore. I refuse to give her any more money, but at the same time, she's still alive. She's still making money off of Harry Potter. It's a matter of voting with my wallet in this case. I don't think Dr. Seuss is still alive, is he?
He's not, but his family's making money, including Mrs. Butterworth and what's the Rice man. His family is still making money off of his image.
Mr. Ben, Uncle Ben.
Yes, absolutely. And in my meritocracy, utopia. Oh, absolutely. Cancel culture, not cancel culture, but canceling is the way to control bad behavior, bad habits, bad people. This is the way, but when it turns into what it has, people losing their minds we're getting a new cancellation every week, whether it's an actor, Gina Carano, or whether it's a Rice man, Uncle Ben, or whether it's Dr. Seuss. Every single week we're getting a new cancellation, and a lot of it's ridiculous. And and by the way, a lot of it's not even Caucasian cancellations. A lot of them are Land of Lakes Indian, Native American. Uncle Ben, Mrs. Buttersworth, Redskins. Yep. They're all brown people. Why are the crazy woke leftists canceling all of these brown people? It's
in the case of Mrs. Buttersworth, wasn't it because she was considered a racist depiction of a black woman?
She was a damn cook. It was her recipe, if I remember correctly. She was and the same thing. I'm sorry, Uncle Ben was definitely a cook. He was like a famous cook, and he's like, hey, let's put this guy on here.
I don't know the history
and honor this person, and it was an honor. But hey, let's take Land of Lake. Let's remove the Indian and keep the land.
Native American.
The Native American. The Indians are something else. I know that.
What do you think? Have cancellations gone too far, or are they happening over reasons that are just absolutely absurd? 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. It's bitcoin.com.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish, in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Do you appreciate what we do? Help us advertise, market, and promote for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio you control. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line. You can call in and talk about anything you want. 603-283-6160. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
It's Ian.
And Conan.
And I want to say thank you to Ashredo, who is tonight's amplifier. That means Ashredo is a member of the AMP program. You can find out more about it at amp.freetalklive.com. Basically, it's a program that we use to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. So if you like the show, if you like what we're doing, head on over to amp.freetalklive.com to find out more about it and to sign up. It only costs $5 per month. It helps us get on more radio stations. It helps us reach larger audiences. And it comes with a number of cool little perks like an AMP-only call-in line. There's an AMP-only chat group at the Matrix server, which you can find at chat.freetalklive.com. All kinds of awesome stuff come along with it. Check it out, amp.freetalklive.com. Ashredo, thank you so much for the contributions. We hope you continue listening and amplifying the show. But let's go to the phones. We've got Anonymous calling. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. So I had a story that I wanted to tell you, but I first wanted to briefly talk about the caller before. So he was saying how he was a civil libertarian. And when I kind of went down this road of liberty, that's one of the names that I ran into as well. A lot of people that, believe in limited government in terms of free speech and things like that tend to like this label, but they still think that the government should, regulate the economy and things like that. A good example of a person like this is Alan Dershowitz.
So Conan was right with his statement that it's basically minarchism?
I would say that it's just another way to say a modern liberal, to be completely honest. I wouldn't even give it the label of minarchism because they still want the state to play a very influential role in a lot of aspects of your life. So that's not why I was calling, though. I just wanted to talk about a story that I had. So my wife and I plan on moving to New Hampshire, and before we do that, we want to visit a whole bunch of places in California where we currently live. It's horrible here. So one of the places on the list was Japantown, and that's in San Francisco. And I don't know if you know the geography of San Francisco too much, but in order to get there, you have to cross a bridge. And usually when you have to cross bridges, you have to pay tolls. So I looked up how much the toll would be, and it was $6. So I brought $6 worth of coins, just to make it hard on them. Okay, here, if you're going to charge me this money, here, let me get rid of some coins so that, at least I'm getting something out of it.
Except they don't take coins anymore, only credit cards.
Right. So this is what happened. It turned out that when we drove up, it was no contact because of COVID. So there was nobody even at the stand, which was okay, they'll just record my license plate and then send me the bill in the mail. Even though I think that's a huge privacy violation, but whatever, I guess that's how they have to do it. Mm-hmm. And so then the same day when we come back from our excursion, I got a letter in the mail stating that I got a toll evasion penalty of $25.
What? The same day?
Yeah, same day they sent it. Overnight mail, except quicker than that. When the government wants their money, they can send it quick.
Seriously? They overnighted you a notice that you owed them money for running through a toll booth?
Same day. We actually crossed the bridge at 2:00, and we got back home at 6, and it was there.
What the hell?
And I just wanted to cross the bridge to, do this fun thing with my wife, and here comes the state saying that even though you did everything that you could, just driving through a bridge like normal,
dude, get out of that state. At least go up. At least go up north where they might be splitting off pretty soon.
He said he was looking at New Hampshire, didn't he? Didn't you say that?
But he wants to drive around California some more, and it's just don't even just
get out.
Either go up north where there's the possibility, which probably isn't ever going to happen until the ultimate collapse, which might be coming in the next couple of years too, or just come right over to New Hampshire. We need more like you.
Well, Anonymous, thank you so much for the call. Are there any toll roads in New Hampshire?
Right below Concord. Is it above and below Concord?
I think there's one out on the way toward the seacoast as well. but I always have my Waze set to avoid tolls, so I don't go.
The only time I would have hit it, I always drive around those silly things, and it's nice because you can see the sights. See the sights too while you're at it. Yeah. As long as you can figure out when to get off the road for it. Sometimes you get trapped. Ooh, prime example, Massachusetts. I hate you. Went and dropped my mom off at the airport there.
They hate us too. Don't worry.
I got into the airport just fine.
Yeah, getting out.
I couldn't get out of the damn place until I paid my $6 toll on the stupid bridge. I didn't know where it was.
Set your Waze to avoid toll roads. It'll take you around.
I think I was using Google's at the time.
Google owns Waze, but you got to get Waze.
Let's keep going with the phones. We've got Anarcho-Republican calling. You're on Free Talk Live.
WAZ.
Hey guys, just want to talk about the Fahrenheit 451 that's going on right now.
You better believe
You're familiar with rape?
Yeah, book burning.
Well, this is a different sort. See, in the book, the fireman found out that firemen used to put out fires instead of burning books, and he was asked. He goes, "Well, why do we burn the books?" He says, "Well, you don't understand. Those books are full of ideas, and when you have a society full of minorities, you're going to upset somebody with ideas. And so to make everybody happy, we have to get rid of ideas." Yeah. And so what they had to do is they had to step back into an older technology. They had to go back to, memory and recitation. That's what we have to do. I'm sorry to say. I keep telling you, technology is the beast. They can wipe out our culture digitally if we don't have hard copies to say this is the truth. This is the way things used to be.
I've never read Fahrenheit 451. I'm not a big fan of Ray Bradbury, I believe is his name.
I think that might be the only book of his I've ever read.
See, I started with one called From Dusk Returned, from the Dust Returned or something like that, and it was so badly written that I couldn't make it past the third page.
Caller, I sell books for a living. I am all on board with what you're saying. There's going to come a time when the electricity is going to go off. It might not be for might not be for the big cities. They'll have their rolling blackouts.
Well, but did you hear what happened to Texas?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's definitely a possibility.
It's not just that they're going to edit. Things will be changed.
Now you're starting to get in 1984, where that was his job was to edit.
See, I was curious why they didn't just edit out these images.
It's happening right before our eyes, brothers and sisters. Watch out for the beast. His eyes are everywhere.
Well,
have a good evening, guys.
Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Vin Armani, a former co-host here on Free Talk Live, a former host of Free Talk Live, he's been really on the ball on a lot of his Twitter posts about this stuff. I wish he'd get off Twitter and get onto Mastodon, but that's another story. He predicted months ago that they would go back into old movies and add masks into old movies. And he said, mark my words.
Oh, come on.
And you know what they did?
Oh, come on.
They came out, they didn't go back into the old movies, but they took scenes from the old movie. Warner Brothers did this. And they took like Harry Potter, and they took The Matrix, and they took other like classic movies, and they put masks on the characters in this promo, this COVID promo.
Hard copies, people, hard copies.
We mentioned a quick app during this discussion. It's Waze, W-A-Z-E. It's the best GPS app out there.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live. 603-283-6160 is the phone line. Forgive the sigh. I just saw the clip that Ian was talking about of the Warner Brothers little commercial of editing Harry Potter and even It.
The Flash.
Of the movie It.
Joker.
Keanu Reeves from The Matrix.
Now, you got to ask yourself.
Aquaman.
All putting masks on, just to be clear, in case somebody's just tuning in. Putting sort of retroactively going back in, taking clips from these films, putting it all into a 30-second promo to quote-unquote mask up for COVID. And all your heroes from your favorite Warner Brothers movies are in masks.
I mean, wouldn't it be more effective to have people like It and the Joker not wearing masks? Like, these people are the evil ones. I mean, isn't that the propaganda they're really trying to spew? Why would Joker, the psychopath, the sociopath, put on a mask to protect people?
Exactly.
Have you ever heard of Batman? What Joker does is try to kill people.
No, he'd not kill people. He wants to see it all burn.
You're supposed to suspend disbelief. It's the movies.
I can't suspend disbelief about what the movie is. Hold on. How am I trying to phrase this?
Oh, my God, the Hobbits.
I can suspend disbelief to believe.
The Hobbits are masked. Why? All of them.
Look, Aria, what are you doing with all this critical thinking, okay? It's just forget about it. The New York Times said they would take care of this for you.
Fauci said no mask. I'm sorry, then he said mask. No, then he said double mask. Then he said face shield.
Right.
Then he said the vaccine.
Goggles. Don't forget he said goggles, too, at one point.
He did say goggles, and yet no one has goggled up.
That was just a little too far.
That's not true.
They do sell them, though.
No, there was the state rep in New Hampshire who had the plague doctor's mask on. I'm pretty sure that counts as goggles.
That's true. Ooh, in that case, I've goggled up.
I don't know if they were eye slits or if they were like covered. I couldn't tell in the
I think
picture.
I saw her eyes.
It was too low res. I couldn't tell.
That's a good point.
I couldn't tell.
It was very fancy. It was very Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't you get like the real deal, the dark
one,
nasty one? It just, you might. This guy, you're walking down the grocery store, the flower aisle, and you see that guy, and it's like, you have a heart attack.
Yes.
All right. Well, this woman had like a Mardi Gras one. It was kind of cutesy. Not really heavy hitting.
Well, let's go to the phones. We've got David calling from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Calling from New Mexico, listening on Arizona, though, KTOX.
Yep.
What's up?
And
What's on your mind?
Speaking of that, Aria, you're no longer all alone in your industry.
What are you referring to?
As the only trans shock jock on the radio.
Uh-oh, you got competition, Aria.
Who else?
Who?
Yeah, no, not me. Radio Rob has decided to come out publicly on the airwaves to
Who's
all
that?
of us. He's a host on KTOX, KTOX.
Oh, really?
Needles, California.
Not sure I really consider myself a shock jock.
Yeah, I know. I was just pushing your buttons.
I don't know about that. When you run for office, you're kind of shocky. I know you're pushing buttons.
Maybe you inspired this guy.
What was his name again? Radio Rob?
Radio Rob. KTOX1340.com. Cool. Well, good.
Yeah, he's on D-Live. He's on D-Live, too. He puts his program on D-Live on Sundays.
Well, I don't know how to ask this. Is Rob he now, or is Rob she now?
She now.
Okay. Is it Rabina?
Or Robin? I mean,
Robin would.
I don't know. Rob hasn't told us yet. He's been.
She?
He hasn't commented.
Wait,
on
hold
that.
on now. Hold on. Is Rob a shock rocker? Is this maybe a ploy?
Yeah. Is it for real or is it a stunt?
Yeah.
Well, he had us going for a month. He had me going for a month. He came out with it like a month ago, and most of us didn't believe him. We thought he was joking around, so we were joking around with him about it. And then he comes out a couple days ago, and it's for real, for real.
Huh.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of good radio stunts out there. So how do you know it's for real now?
Well, cancel culture. If he tried something like this in this day and time, that would be the end of him. Wouldn't you think?
Well, you're talking to him right now. Just ask him right now. Hey, Rob, call in.
Rob, are you listening? Call in.
How do you know we're talking to him now? How do you know he's
listening?
Well,
you're being played on KTOX, so everybody. Too late. Everybody in Arizona already has heard you.
We know that we're on it. I know that we're on in KTOX, but I don't know if necessarily this guy listens actively to our show. He's certainly welcome to call in, just like anyone else. But I mean, not everybody who is on the radio listens to the station they're on 24/7 when they get off the air.
In fact, if anything, that's the last thing on their mind. They want to get away from it. Get some fresh air.
You said you wanted to talk about David Seuss. I mean, Dr. Seuss, David.
Yeah, how can they pick on that dude? They called his work, 6 of his works, they said this is a quote from, I heard this on public radio, so it's got to be true. They called it white supremacist work.
Well, anything that you don't agree with these days, that's all you have to do is just call it white supremacist or Nazi, or in the other case, call it communism if you're coming from the other side. And that's it. That's all you have to say.
That's the paradoxical thing about it, because white supremacy, and they did tie it into Nazi stuff. But the kicker is Dr. Seuss is Jewish, so how can he be a Nazi?
He's a self-loathing Jew, of course.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's right. You're either an anti-Semite or a self-loathing Jew, or both. If you criticize.
Well, I guess this goes to show that not all Jews are running the world, right? If Dr. Seuss is being deplatformed.
Well,
no. The bigger Jews are running the littler Jews, and Dr. Seuss is just one of the littler Jews.
Well, Dr. Seuss is a huge influence. Yeah.
Entire generations of people.
The Rothschilds have influenced Dr. Seuss.
I guarantee you, if you ask people, do you know who the Rothschilds are, or do you know who Dr. Seuss is? Way more people will know who Dr. Seuss is.
Well, you're actually proving my point, and you don't even know it.
Huh?
When the puppet master puts on a puppet show, does the puppet master want to be seen?
I think here's a question that a lot of people would figure out on their. If you ask them if Dr. Seuss was Jewish or the Rothschilds were Jewish, They would say they wouldn't. I never knew
They'd
that.
be like, who are the Rothschilds?
No, I think a lot of people know who they are.
You think so?
But I don't.
doubt
But
it.
I have never.
Come on,
but
man.
I have never
Most
known.
people don't even know who the vice president is.
I have never known that Dr. Seuss was Jewish ever. I never heard that.
Me neither, but I believe
didn't
it.
either because it was never really relevant
Exactly.
to my understanding of Dr. Seuss.
But when the Rothschilds are brought up, it's always that they're Jewish.
Yeah, how about
my issue is that they're bankers.
Yeah, my issue is that they are power brokers, power mongers.
I don't care that they're Jewish.
Those people are Christians too, power seekers.
They're evil bankers trying to run the world.
There are lots of power brokers out. Brokers. Yeah, that's a good word for them. Power mongers.
Well, let's get back to this video from the Los Angeles Unified School District. David, thank you so much for the call.
Just to recap this video, they are instituting a daily pass. The daily pass is going to require a weekly COVID test and a daily survey, a self-survey, and that's what the kids are going to have to get to school. And you're going to need
good job security for Big Pharma with these tests.
Oh yeah, and it's Microsoft that's teaming up with the Los Angeles
Microsoft
County.
Pass. But the real magic is your daily health check. Just answer a few simple health questions every day and
Now, these questions are really simple and pointless, really. Do you have a fever? Dry cough, soreness, shortness of breath, it's very small.
Question.
Or loss of taste or smell.
Question, is this what the test is? Is it an actual PCR test or an antibody test or whatever test they currently are using?
Well, this isn't a test. This is just a daily checkup.
This is a daily
saying,
quiz.
No, I don't have these symptoms.
And that's what I was asking. Is this the test or is it just daily?
No, there's a COVID test every week.
Check box checks.
COVID test weekly, daily box check.
Okay.
Which is so scientific to ask a 9-year-old child to tell you whether or not they have COVID-19.
It's to get them used to this whole, oh, are you sick today? Oh, are you sick today? Oh, are you... Every single day you got to assess yourself whether you got a runny nose and all these problems, and then, oh my God, I'm sick, quarantine me for 14 days.
and like magic, your entrance ticket appears.
Your entrance ticket, implying that without this, without going through this step of actively saying every single day, no, I'm not sick.
It almost sounds like a reward, almost like Willy Wonka gift card in the chocolate bar that you just picked up.
Well, congratulations, children. Your reward is public education.
Exactly. This is going to expand from here, and it already is going to be. We'll tell you where coming up.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BitCot no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, final segment of the show. Thanks for listening tonight. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to be taking any more unscreened calls tonight, but you can chat with us in the meantime at chat.freetalklive.com. There's a Matrix server set up there, completely controlled by Free Talk Live, not beholden to any corporate masters. Don't have to worry about being censored. You pretty much say whatever you want as far as I can tell. If that's not your thing, there's a Twitter clone that you can check out at social.freetalklive.com. And when I say it's a Twitter clone, I mean it's like Twitter, but that's about all the relationship that it actually has with Twitter. It's got a much higher character limit, so if you tend to ramble on, that would be the way to go. You can find that at social.freetalklive.com. There's all kinds of cool things that Free Talk Live is up to these days along those. You can keep track of that at social.freetalklive.com, in fact. But if you want to just chat with us or with other listeners, chat.freetalklive.com is the place to go for that. And let's go to the phones. We got CW also listening on K-Talk. CW, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, howdy, y'all. I just want to kind of go on what Dave was talking about earlier about Radio Rob. He's been a voice of reason in our area for several years. He has multiple radio shows, and I personally got to meet him, and you can kind of tell by his mannerisms that he was kind of, he seems sort of feminine, and then when he did come out a month ago, he came out a month ago saying he was going to join the clown world, just like a play thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a month went by of him doing the Miss Rob Hansen show versus just the Rob Hansen show, he actually spent 2 hours of just straight talking about his feelings and how he felt and his military time and how he couldn't express himself. So he really is coming out as a transgender. He just doesn't have the hormones that Aria is taking right now and all that stuff. I'm sure he eventually wants to, but it was so hard for him to come out like that, especially in the conservative area that we're in. I'm sure it's very hard.
How are his listeners handling? How long ago was that he came out?
He mentioned it a month ago.
She mentioned it a month ago, and so how are the listeners? How are the listeners handling it?
Because this is a conservative talk show host, right?
Yes, very conservative talk show. It's a voice of reason in our area. But then when she announced this, I think we're all receptive to it because we've been hearing Miss Rob Hansen for so long. There's no reason for us to not accept her. You know what I'm saying? Why should we not accept her? We've accepted Rob for so long, and now when she came out as she did, there's no reason for us to just throw her off the cliff.
Well, I'm
you know
glad
what I'm
to
saying?
hear that.
That's a very positive way of looking at it.
Yeah, we have to accept it because she's always going to have we're always going to listen to her every Sunday because, it's just what we do. We listen to our local radio shows. We have to.
Well, hopefully the producers in that area are of a like mind. And she doesn't find herself out on her butt.
Oh,
well, she continues if she continues having listeners, that's the part that the producers really care about.
Yes.
Unless they have a political leaning where it doesn't where it rubs them the wrong way and they can't agree with it, just like cancel culture in
Well, they want to sell ads. I mean, Warner Brothers doesn't agree with anything that J.K. Rowling has said about trans people, but they're still going to sell Harry Potter movies and as much Harry Potter crap as they can.
They slapped a mask on him in that promo.
Yeah, they don't care about the message they're actually putting out there. They just want the money.
Yep.
And that's probably less true of a programming director for a local radio station, but it's still going to be true to it. You're not going to fire your star host because that's still bringing in listeners.
I just want to say that the owner of the station is highly receptive to it, and I personally know both of them, and they're not going anywhere.
All right, cool.
The owner of the station that produces it, there's nothing. It's just something that was a little bit.
Yeah. We got it.
Thanks for the call, man.
Yeah, man. It's good to hear that because, that could definitely have gone badly. I can see why Rob would have introduced us as I'm joining Clown World as sort of a way of bridging that with the conservative audience because that's how they refer to this. Oh, boys becoming girls, girls becoming boys. It's a clown world.
Oh, okay.
So sort of easing them into the idea, I suppose.
I didn't know where the Clown World thing came from. That was before the COVID thing, the Clown World?
I believe so. Wasn't it? Is it? I think the Clown World meme has been around for years.
That's been it's been around as long as Pepe the Frog.
Okay, yeah, I didn't really see it until the last year.
So we didn't really discuss it, but Governor Greg Abbott is also rescinding statewide mask mandates and the capacity limits on business. So this is 2 states. We mentioned it, but we didn't really discuss it. It is now.
He can't possibly top those Mississippi quotes, can he?
No.
Okay.
No, Mississippi was inadvertently advocating anarchism, and
it was inadvertently the best story of the year so far.
Yeah, businesses no longer have to follow any state restrictions. Hell yeah, dude. It's about time. It is now time to open Texas 100%, Abbott said from a Mexican restaurant, arguing that Texas has fought the coronavirus pandemic to the point that, quote, people and businesses don't need the state telling them how to operate any longer. He said he was
Hey, we never did.
No,
just so you know.
Yeah, but they think we did because they think they're gods and that we're stupid little peasants.
Well, by all evidence, they're right. Because people just did what they were told. So, it wasn't like there was a big pushback in any sort of sense.
He said that starting March the 10th, all businesses of any type are allowed to open 100% and masks will no longer be required in public. The mask requirement has been in effect since last summer in Texas.
Yeah. And when are they going to bring it back? Because remember, this was like the test run to see what kind of crap people were going to put up with. Maybe they're rescinding this because they're worried that eventually people will get fed up with it. But I don't see any evidence that they are. Not yet.
Well, it's easier during the winter because it does keep your face warm.
A little warmer, yeah.
And in the winter, it's cold.
Yeah, they'll bring it back next flu season.
But during the summer, I think it's going to be a much harder sell.
Well, they sold it last summer.
But I don't remember now because it's been a long year, but wasn't compliance lower during the summer than it was during the fall?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of states came down hard on the mask mandates until about late summer, early fall, if I'm not mistaken. But mask mandates were going to town all
Keene passed
all year.
theirs in the summertime in August. Keene, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
But the numbers are coming down. So you can't keep showing people the charts, Stephen. You can't look at the chart from the CDC and not go in the back of your head. I think we're safe now, But come fall,
for these people, there will never be safety. For these people, there's always something lurking around the bend.
Not to mention, Joe Biden's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they handed him the reins, and so now he gets to. And he promised that he'll set us free.
Oh, did he? I must have missed that one.
Oh yeah. So I mean, he can't. And you got to prove Orange Man bad, wrong. And he said, what did he say last year? He said Easter. He says, you guys will be free. We'll set you free 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We'll shut this place down for 2 weeks, and then by Easter, we'll all be free again. We'll all be doing our thing.
The warden is honest.
My prediction, by this Easter, 2021, it will be nothing. We'll be worrying about something completely different. It'll be we'll be canceling something else. But as far as the masks and the shutdowns.
I will take cancel culture over COVID culture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But I have to choose between the two.
But if he can set us free by this Easter, he will have proven Trump that much wronger, and get all the more brawny points. Well, here's the problem.
That's not happening. They're going to double down. I think what's going to happen. Here's my prediction. Okay, you predicting he's going to set people free?
No. He wants the Biden administration is going to want to try to have us free by Easter. However, he is running head to head with Big Pharma and China, and they have different ideas.
Well, what they've got is this pass that we were talking about with Los Angeles, where they're going to tell all these kids they got to have this daily checkup where they check in, and they got to get a COVID test all the time, every single week. Ticketmaster is teaming up with a corporation, and I forget what I don't remember if it was IBM or it was one of these. It's big
Microsoft.
data. It wasn't Microsoft. There's others. It's not just Microsoft. So there's these big tech companies like Microsoft and IBM that are working independently on these health passes. And so what you're hearing about what's happening...
Let's just say Silicon Valley, and they're all wanting this. This is the kind of technology that just gets them hard.
Ticketmaster signed on for it. Major League Baseball has signed on for it, where they're going to have kiosks as you're going in, where you've got to check in with the health pass.
The airline industry?
The airline industry did this years ago with pre-flight. With pre-flight.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, so it's coming. This isn't just for kids in Los Angeles. That's how they're going to introduce the kids to it, and the parents are going to be next. If you want to do anything ever again.
Eventually, we're going to get to a point where you go to a store and you have to scan that QR code right there at the front to check in.
That's when they're going to check your eye. It's going to check you. You're going to look into a pupil scanner.
Just say
you can't
no.
talk about this on Facebook and Twitter, but you know where you can talk about it? Chat.freetalklive.com. You can find us there, chat.freetalklive.com.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects